What's going on, everyone? In today's episode, Zach and I go deep. We talk about how pursuing your fitness goals has the potential to not only lead to a physical transformation, but also to a mental and emotional transformation as well. We also discuss if working towards your fitness goals or your physique goals is an act of selfishness or not. And we discuss how being in great shape can have a pretty profound social impact and more. This was a thought-provoking conversation, and I know you're going to love it. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider hitting the like button and dropping a comment. It really helps us out. Alrighty, let's dive in. So, Zach, over the course of the past 3 years, you've accomplished a pretty significant physical transformation. So initially you lost like upwards of around like 35, 40 pounds,
Yep.
somewhere around there. Yep. So you lost a ton of body fat. You built a ton of muscle. You have competed in a full marathon. You've competed in a half marathon as well, right?
Yep. A few of them. Yep.
Few half marathons, full marathon. You have prepped and competed for a natural bodybuilding competition in which you crushed it. So you won a couple gold medals in a couple different categories. Since then, you've continued to train, put on more muscle. You are now in the midst of another full marathon prep, on the cusp of starting another natural bodybuilding prep to compete again for natural bodybuilding. So you've done a lot over the course of the past 3 years, and as I mentioned, accomplished a very significant physical transformation. Now, my question for you is, in addition to a physical transformation, have you found that anything has changed over the course of the past three years of training and pursuing all of these different fitness goals? Have you found that aside from your physical transformation, that anything maybe from like a mental or an emotional standpoint has changed, or have you developed in any way in those aspects?
Yeah, dude, I love this. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and we'll probably go a lot into like my history and background and stuff, but it has completely changed my life, for the positive. So yeah, it's I've discovered more about myself in these last couple years. Gained way more confidence than I ever had before. I feel like I'm more focused on not just like fitness goals, but just like my life in general. I always say like my life right now has never been better. My marriage is better. My personal life, like my finances, everything is like better. And it might not be a direct relation. I think some things would have been good regardless, but it is a data point to note. But I think the biggest things is emotionally and just like in tune with myself, in tune with my body, and having the confidence and knowing what you can accomplish. Um, I think is one of the biggest things. And the discipline and determination, I think, is another thing I've kind of learned about myself. Um, but yeah, I think completely changed my life, completely refocused what my priorities were. And I think I've talked about this, I think, with you and some other people in the past. Like, I almost think I've become boring. Um, but I'm comparing that to the person before. We were just joking before we went live, like doing a get together with the college guys this coming up weekend. A couple years ago, I didn't make it to our event because I might have had too much to drink and had a really good time. So like you look back, you laugh at those memories. I mean, we've talked about that before, kind of our history. But I look back, I'm like, man, do I miss that? No. Like you think you're having fun at that time, but then you look and it's like how much that backtracks your goals, stuff like that. I also think fitness is I still have a lot of other hobbies, and this is try to clearly articulate this. I'm big into music. I'm big into chess and other strategy games. I like playing video games, all these other things. But I learned where they need to be in the priority list. And I learned like that fitness just makes you feel better physically, but it is important. I think we've talked about this. It's like a foundation, like we talked about. It's a non-negotiable that you have to do. Where those other things are important. I think it makes us the complete human being. You know, gets us in touch with our arts and all those other aspects of our lives. But I think I was neglecting that physical aspect. But yeah, man, I think completely changed. I mean, what about you? Because you didn't have a crazy transformation. You know, what I mean, you've always been a stud. Um, so like how I mean, since you've had the progress since you were a teenager and progressing, have you seen that like your life grow with your own journey with fitness?
Yeah, I think so. From aside from like physically changing, I think that pursuing like natural bodybuilding, developing my physique, improving my performance in the gym, kind of just mastering this whole fitness thing,
Mhm,
I think it's taught me a lot about discipline, work ethic, delayed gratification,
mhm,
how to push my limits,
mhm,
how far is too far, how or like what's the balance. Patience is huge. I think learning how to be patient has been one of the big ones. But yes, it's been I think outside of just developing my physique from a mental and emotional standpoint, it's been a big pillar for that's affected
yeah.
me. I think you made an important note that it's super important, but it isn't the only thing still. So, for example, if I just had the gym and I kind of like idolized it as the single most important thing or that's what defines me. I think there's a fine
Mhm,
line there. Like an extreme example. If all I was a big dude with big muscles and like in good shape and just worked out all the time and just chased that, I think that would make me a one-dimensional human being.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm,
I think like you noted this is that it's a piece of the puzzle. So we develop our physiques, our fitness, our health, which is super, super important in the bigger picture. And then we learn all of these things along the way on top of having, um, of keeping in check our other priorities. So
mhm,
it's super important. It's not the only thing, but I think it kind of is something that I think it's something that's extremely important. It shouldn't be idolized as the most
mhm,
important thing or the
mhm.
only thing, but I think that to have as full of a life as possible, it's something that should be
Yeah.
pretty high on the top of the list.
Yeah, I think the skills that you learn in overco like, in accomplishing I won't just say fitness, but specific difficult goal. Like, I think that's a nuance too, right? Like, so, like, a natural bodybuilding, prep and show, you know, the marathons, people that do ultras, whatever they do, like, when you have a specific goal in mind and you train and you have a priority and a focus, you develop a ton of certain skills that now that's who you become in every goal that you approach. So, if your goal is to get promoted in your job, your goal is to get out of debt, if your goal is to find a partner who you want to settle down with, right? Like you've learned skills now to apply to those different aspects of life. And just being in shape is just a byproduct of those skills. And you just applied it through um that event. And I think the physical aspect of it is just one of those things like you overcome physical discomfort. You learn what your body's capable of. You just gain more confidence. I know for me, like especially in the profession, like in the military, very alpha, I guess you can say. You know, people get judged by your physical fitness, how you look, all this other stuff. So I immediately feel more confident when I'm around my peers now than I did 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Even though I think I'm still the same, you know, person, like with empathy and critical thinking skills and whatever, smarts or whatever you wanna call it, but I just have way more credibility, and I think overall it has made me a better leader. Um, even though I think I was a good leader before, but maybe I actually wasn't. Maybe I was just lying to myself and I was hiding behind all those other skill sets that I had of a good communicator, pretty intelligent, whatever. And I was just hiding behind the fact that I wasn't able to lead from the front. I wasn't the best physically, right? Which is part of the ethos and stuff that we have there. Um, but I know that was a huge thing for me, just the mental stress of that. So I think the cool thing is just the well-roundedness, having a goal, focus, staying disciplined, dedicated to it to accomplish a goal. I think is one of the biggest things.
Here's an interesting thought. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. I think with when you're pursuing something like building muscle or like getting ready for a bodybuilding competition or prepping for a marathon, when you're prepping for something like that and you're trying to improve your physique, it involves voluntarily experiencing discomfort and
Yeah.
pain even, and to not just do that once, you know?
Mhm.
It's voluntarily doing that over and over and over again and continuing to push whatever your limits are. Being smart about it, of course,
Mhm.
recovery is important, being strategic in that sense, but it does mean continuously seeking out discomfort in pursuing basically pushing your limits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I think that this is something I think I've learned a lot from that. I think that that's something that's interesting in our culture nowadays where not everyone's like this, but I think that, 2025, a lot of what's encouraged is like do what's good in the feels good in the moment.
Yep.
There's a leaning towards a lot of time towards instant gratification rather than delayed gratification, kind of the avoidance of suffering, the
Mhm.
avoidance
Mhm.
of pain. But this whole fitness thing is different than that. Like the only way that you can do really well is to get after it and embrace that.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like you just want to look healthy and or be healthy and look good. Like there's at least a
Mhm.
little bit of that involved. Like you have to seek it out at least a little bit. But I think that's something that
Mhm.
we learn from we learn from with the whole fitness thing is,
Yeah.
we voluntarily experience suffering and pain to better ourselves, experience delayed gratification, and keep showing up and doing that over and over again. And I think that teaches us something. And I'm wondering because you're sharing
Mhm.
about like how you feel like you became a better leader and how it's affected you in all of these other aspects of your life. And I'm just kind of thinking out loud, I
Mhm.
wonder if that has something to do with it too. It's maybe that's impacted you as a better leader. You've been in the trenches in
Mhm.
this fitness world where you've kind of pushed your limits in this context. And I'm wondering if that added to your confidence levels or just your ability to maybe empathize or to
Yeah.
uh, lead
Mhm.
the people that you're around to a higher
It
level. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
Dude, yeah. I have so many points. I hope I remember them all. But that last point, dude, I literally was talking about this today or yesterday with another Marine. Like uh, it's funny because we have a lot of young I'm at the schoolhouse, right? So we train a lot of new Marines, new officers and all sorts of stuff. And just like it's kind of funny because when you I don't think I'm old, right? We were talking about this earlier. We're both getting old, I guess. We're in our mid-30s. Well, I'm in my
Uh,
mid-30s. I don't know if you're there yet,
I'm
technically.
technically still early 30s.
Yeah. And just like when you talk to people that are new in a career, they're super you can see the spark in their eye still, and then like the realism of like life hasn't necessarily hit them yet, and just how things really are and really dealing with people when you're just managing and leading people. It's a people business. But my fitness transformation and the journey has made me more empathetic overall, and it's made me more understanding overall, and it's allowed me to meet people at their level, which I think is the best way to lead people. The military is very authoritarian, like, you have to do what you say because I outrank you and blah, 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 right? All that stuff. So, um, And I tell my wife sometimes these things. She's like, that would never work in the corporate world, right? So like you have to kind of care about how people feel and stuff. So it's completely different. But the new thing I've been thinking of is, different organizations have standards. Okay. And then there's my standard if it's my team. Like, hey, I have my guys. This is the standard I'm going to set as the leader. It would be right now, because of my fitness transformation, unreasonable for them to meet my standard, right? Like I have to get them there. I have to build them up. So I just can't go out there and say, hey, everyone, I expect y'all to do 30 pull-ups. Like that's kind of unreasonable. That's like because I've been pushing myself to these extreme limits, and it's I don't want to say unrealistic because anyone can get there, but I understand this is not everyone's, journey or whatever, or they want to push themselves to that limit. A better example, I can't say, hey, everyone, let's go run a marathon, right? Like, because they haven't been training for it. And they might not want to do that. And so I've applied that to other aspects of it. Like, how can I then expect them to be the same standard of my morals or the same standard of my competence when it comes to technical writing or something? Like it just makes me more understanding that people are different levels and people have different skill sets, and let me just work towards their strengths and instead of focusing on their weaknesses, which I think we have a tendency to do. I think society tends to focus on what we're bad at instead of empowering people what they're good at. um, and this is another thing I think with these journeys like bodybuilding, you do things that are uncomfortable for society. Like you're doing things that the norm doesn't do, and so you build more self-confidence. At the time it's hard. Like we've talked about this. You go to the restaurant, you bring your own food, or you bring the weight scale, or you don't eat because you have to have your calories you're counting. That's socially awkward, and it's so easy to cave to the social pressures. And then when people say, "Why are you doing that? That's crazy. That's stupid. That's too much. You're weird." Like you could easily just cave to that. But when you don't, and then you have that great physique afterwards, you have a great show and you feel awesome, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, how did you do that?" Well, I did it by like ignoring all of that peer pressure and there's people trying to bring you down, and you just kind of rise above all that. So I think that's an interesting point where people always want to focus on the negative. They don't want to empower people with what they're good at. Um, and the skill you learn about overcoming like the social, like I won't almost say better is not the right term because it's not. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like we're rising above what the standard, the average is. Um, and so I always think that's okay that people aren't at me because I view myself as above average. I view myself as like an elite. That's the mentality I approach. So like I will win. I'm a competitor. I will be better than everyone else, but not better in a bad way. It's just like a healthy competitiveness. So I don't know. That was a lot. I don't know if it was random. I don't know if it made sense. What are your thoughts?
It did make sense. Couple things. So, like, one of those points about describing, like, you having an understanding of who you're leading, like, getting them to do
Mhm,
getting someone to do something like, "Okay, today we're gonna run a marathon." You have an understanding from being in the trenches, prepping for a
mhm,
marathon that if you were to say, "Hey, we're gonna run a marathon today," that would probably not make you a good leader because
mhm.
you've been in the trenches, you can get inside someone else's you can put your feet in someone else's shoes
Yeah.
and be able to give them kind of more realistic instruction, not setting
Mhm,
them up to fail, and you have more empathy because you understand the kind of work that needs to go into certain things to be able to accomplish
mhm.
them, and also the struggle that can be
Yeah.
involved with a, a accomplishing a certain task. So it's like you can
Mhm.
kind of set your those who you're leading up to succeed. You can set them
Yeah.
up to succeed rather than to fail, and they can look up to you more and you be a better leader in that sense because people actually want to be
Mhm,
led by you. The other thing that you mentioned too about like the difficulty with conforming in social
mhm,
settings, like you're at a get together and everyone's eating chips and junk and you're like, hey, no, no, thanks. I'm going to do that. I'm doing this whole bodybuilding thing, or I'm like trying to stay in shape or whatever it
Mhm.
is. Like those awkward feelings that you get in those situations when you turn down the snacks and, you kind of get maybe like funny looks and that sort of thing. I think that develops, it develops its own skill set too, which is, um, mental resilience,
Yeah.
fortitude. Like it's a way of reinforcing or practicing this skill of saying no to things that aren't in alignment with what your larger goal is. So
Mhm.
which goes in alignment with delayed gratification. You say no to the treats or the
Yep.
high calorie meal at a restaurant or whatever. You say no to that because you're saying yes to the bodybuilding competition or just being in great shape or whatever. So I think it
Mhm.
teaches a level of mental resilience. That's one of the things that I've learned. Another thing that I've learned with this whole fitness thing
Mhm.
is it's all about trade-offs.
Yeah.
So to develop your physique or to perform well in something like a marathon, I think there's no way around it. Like you're going to experience some discomfort along the way. But that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
It's the trade-off to having a great physique or to performing well in a competition. Like there has to be a trade-off. And I think that's something that a lot of people
Yeah.
really struggle with is like they don't want to make the trade-off. I want an amazing physique, but
Mhm.
I don't want to diet,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't want to die. They don't want the trade-off. But I think that maybe one of the best things that I've learned is that there
Mhm.
has to be a trade-off. I
Yeah.
remember when I was earlier in my coaching years, that was a big thing. And it's still a big thing. There's a lot of marketing in the fitness industry of like, get this X result, lose 30 pounds in 3 months without restricting your calories, like those kind of
Yeah.
catchphrases in marketing. Like, so basically get an amazing result in a short period of
Mhm.
time without having to work for it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what's really
Sign me
catchy to
up.
people. It's like, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, so you're saying I can completely transform without any trade-offs?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where I think that's led to a lot of problems. And what I've realized is I think it's more helpful to actually embrace that there
Mhm.
are trade-offs, to
Yeah.
do that early on, to accept it and embrace it
Yeah.
and then work on it. And then you can, it's not always easy, but then you can actually reap the rewards of it and develop new behaviors. And then,
Mhm.
do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts
no,
on that?
I agree. I was actually listening to something, it was talking about when you go on long runs, and I don't know if trade-off, maybe I'd try to come up with a different word with it, but almost like fitness can be selfish in some ways, and especially if you're married, you have kids or whatever, um, like, I don't wanna be stereotypical here, but say you go to work all day, the wife stays home with the kids, and then you're getting up earlier, going to the gym, or you're going on a run, and then you're going to the gym at the end of the day, and you come home, and it's like, you know, your spouse, like, cooked, cleaned, took care of the kids all day, and you just got to take care of yourself and get in shape and, whatever. Like, there's probably a little bit of truth to it, but it's not the true truth. Like, that is important. Like you're saying, it's a trade-off, but it's almost like you are bettering yourself to be a better husband, a better man, a better provider, a better example for your kids. Like you're doing those hard things. And then I think specifically for me, I'm very traditionalist. And it's like my role is like the protector. My role is like I need to be physically fit to provide, protect and things like that. And you know, as much as, like, I think, like, sometimes you can hear stories of, like, spouses kinda getting jealous or whatever potentially, but I think they admire that. Like, that's been my experience. My wife is so proud of me, you know what I mean? And especially, like, we were, visiting, this last weekend, we went back to where we lived before. We've been gone for a year, and I guess someone I didn't know they did this, and Carrie told me this afterwards, like, like, her friend was like, "Zach looks so great. I mean, look at his legs." And Carrie told me this afterwards. I was like, "I don't even think my legs look good." I was like, "I'm gonna have to tell Sam so I could do a classic
You're
instead
gonna
of
have to
men's
wear
physique."
shorter shorts now. Yeah, there you go.
I know, right? So, I mean, I think it is a good thing, so I don't think it's selfish. But then but because you learn those skill sets of going through hard things and getting up early and being disciplined, dedicated, I think you also will learn the good things to be a good husband, a good father. Like you know what it is like when you come home. You're going to spend focused effort on raising your kids or doing whatever you need to do. Um, so I think it's like maybe it's an excuse people say, you know what I mean? But the people that are actually doing it, grinding, they're leading successful family lives, they're leading successful businesses, they're in shape. Like those are the people we should look up to and admire in society.
There's so many good points in there. You know what's funny is I actually wrote out an entire script for a video that I haven't recorded. It'll
Nice.
just be like one of my regular like
Mhm,
voiced over training session kind of videos, but I wrote this entire script on answering the question and working out if on that specific topic is working out is building your physique selfish? Is that a selfish thing to do?
mm.
So I it was actually kind of it was good for me to script this out and write through it because I kind of going through this a similar thought process and working these things out the way that you just were.
Mhm.
And what I came to as I was writing this out, it's kind of like a brainstorm kind of
Yeah.
script. Very similar conclusion to what you just described in that, and I actually looked up what I looked up the definition of selfish, which is
Okay.
actually different than self-centered. I wanted to quickly interrupt this episode to let you know about the work that I do. I work full time as an online physique coach, helping my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition. I've been doing this work since 2018 and love helping my clients to transform their bodies and ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, you're invited to hit the link in the description below to learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. All right, let's get back to the episode. So selfish means overemphasizing yourself, your needs, your wants, your goals, just you
Mhm,
in the expense of someone else or in
mhm,
the expense of others. So that's selfishness. A little bit different than being self-centered, which is just the over emphasis of yourself. Maybe
mhm.
not necessarily with as much of an emphasis on at the expense of others. So they're a little bit different.
Okay, okay.
But but what I came to as I'm writing this out, I think it's really tough to not be I think there's a spectrum of
Mhm.
self-centeredness where
Yeah.
maybe there's actually healthy levels. Like you mentioned, it's like you kind of have to spend some time on yourself so
Yeah.
that you can be stronger and healthier for your family, for your spouse, for your kids or
Mhm.
whomever. So some level on the spectrum of self-centeredness is
Yeah.
probably okay. But as far as being selfish goes, I think there actually are some instances, there's natural bodybuilders, I think,
Mhm.
I've actually been one of these people where it can actually be easy to fall into the
Mm.
self-centered trap, which is where, like, you got this is an extreme example. You got a fun
Yeah.
weekend planned, but you decide not to do the fun weekend because you wanna get your workouts in instead. Like,
Yeah.
that might be focusing on your workout thing in the expense of everyone else. But
Mhm.
as I'm writing this script, I think there's ways to work around that, which is
Yeah.
just, like, do your workout when in that case, like, do it before you go for vacation on the weekend,
Yep.
or, like, plan to do your workout when it's gonna be at least invasive for your family members or whoever's closest to you. So, like,
Yeah.
those kind of things. So, I think that the whole fitness thing in general, like, they're kind of it has to kinda sit on
Mhm.
this self-centered scale to some degree. It just you need to spend time on yourself. I mean, it's like that with
Yeah.
any skill. Like, you wanna be a good
Yep.
musician, you have to spend time practicing by yourself so that you can be a good musician.
Yeah.
But I think that can be differentiated from being selfish in the sense
Mhm.
that you can be strategic about when you spend the time for yourself working out, um, by ensuring that it's not gonna be invasive to the people around you. It's tough. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like, I think it's easier said than done. It
Mhm.
really is. But that was anyways, that was
Yeah.
one of
Oh,
the
I
things that
love
I was
that.
kind of working through
I can't wait to see that video when it comes out. I'll be like, I heard this already.
if it comes
Um,
out.
no, it's
We'll see.
coming out. Don't worry. I think it kind of reminds me of just like everything in moderation. You can't go like full into anything, but also, there's I can't remember. I think my dad told me this. Specifically for my career. Everyone wants to be that selfless leader and just pour everything into the people that work for you. But if you don't take care of yourself, you'll eventually get weeded out. Like you won't get promoted, you won't be able to stay in, and therefore you won't be able to continue leading and mentoring people. So there are times when you have to, like you're saying, strategically take care of yourself so you remain competitive, you stay in the game, and continue to positively influence. One thing, it's funny because like I was saying earlier, I'm going out of town this weekend, and it's already my one of my first thoughts is like, okay, what am I doing with my workouts? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like so like I just
I'm
can't
the
help it now because
same
I
way.
love the gym. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not lifting right now, anyways, Saturday, Sunday per our plan, which sometimes I go on Saturday anyways, but it's like, okay, so not a big deal. And then Friday, crap, I'm gonna miss because I'm in the car at 4 a.m. I even thought about what time can I go to the gym? Can I get it in early? I was like, no, I gotta get on the road. So tomorrow I'm doing a full upper body. I'm gonna be in there 2.5 hours. I'm just gonna haze myself. And I'm doing chest, thighs, back, like shoulders. I mean, I'm just gonna crush myself. And then I'm having 3 full days off. So I just can't wait. I did legs today. I destroyed my legs. And then I'm going to do that. So Friday's complete rest day. And then I already know, and this is where I think, I don't know if I'm crazy. I'm probably crazy a little bit. People will think I'm crazy. But I know Friday night we're staying up super late. And the cool thing, this is another cool thing. It's like habit stacking of positive habits. So I don't drink anymore. So even if I'm low on sleep because we stayed up until 3 a.m., I can, and my sleep schedule. Like, okay, I can operate on 5 hours. Let's go. So when I get up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, that is not normal for my friends. My friends are going to sleep in. And so I will get up at 8 and I will go run my 10 miles. And I will be back before they wake up. And I will make breakfast for them because I always end up making breakfast and I wake them up. So it's like, and in some ways, I don't want to sound like an asshole. And I'll probably send them this video too when it comes out. Like, again, I'm competitive. I want to be better, but in a positive way. I want to show them that like you can go and have fun. I'm going to be the life of the party. I'm going to be the extrovert that I am. I'm going to stay up late with them. I won't go to bed early, but I will get up, get my workout in, and still do everything. And that's just how I am. And I think by living my normal life like that, that I can apply that to my training. I can apply that later when it'd be easy for me to skip my runs over the weekend. Um, and the funny thing is, I'm driving back Monday on Labor Day, and my friend that I go to the gym with is off that day. And I already told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to be back at 5. We're not working out all weekend. We're doing PR day. And I'm going to be so carb loaded from the weekend. I'm going to hit some PRs. So, like, I'm strategically planning to get my stuff in within my social life and enjoying time with friends, which I think that's a long tangent, but I think that's extremely important. But I hope people listen to that and it's like you can come up with excuses why not to, but why not come with excuses of why, like to do it. Just like I said, I spun it and saying I'm going to turn this to a positive aspect of me getting after it and my friends respecting me and looking up to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just and I understand how it's difficult because I was there. I was that out of shape, lazy guy who would want to not do anything. And I don't know what we could probably talk for hours and try to figure out what it was that made me change, my mindset. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you said that sparked that where I went off on that tangent. But I want people to know if you're planning a Labor Day barbecue or something, earn it. Go in there and get your workout in.
Well, it's interesting because like there's a level of irony to that. So here's the irony. So you actually you just described these trade-offs that you are making. So
Mhm.
you're not going to stay up as late as everyone else. That's a trade-off you're making. You're going to get up a little bit earlier, 8 a.m. That's still like sleeping in, but like it's a
Yeah.
trade-off compared to everyone else. They're going to be sleeping till 10 a.m. or noon or whatever.
Mhm.
And then you're still making the trade-off of spending energy and having planned doing this training session or the run or whatever. Like you've You're going to do it. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to like it because
Mhm.
we're into this whole fitness thing. We like the challenge,
Yeah.
but it's a trade off. But the ironic part about that is you've made all these sacrifices that you're actually okay with making,
Mhm.
and it ends up improving your overall quality of life, making things better.
Mhm.
So you just
Mhm.
described, well, then you're gonna have like you're gonna make breakfast for everybody. You're gonna be in amazing shape. You are gonna feel good
Mhm.
for the rest of the day. Like you're feeling just the way that you're describing it, like it's all a very positive thing. But it's just a level of irony because like you are actually making these trade-offs. You're sacrificing your time going to bed earlier. You're
Mhm.
getting up technically a little bit earlier, but you're still kind of sleeping in.
Yeah.
You're going out of your way to challenge yourself physically and mentally because it's going to be uncomfortable to get the hard training in.
Mhm.
But it's all ends up being worth it, like really worth it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. There's trade-offs,
Yeah.
but you get like a way, way bigger payoff. And it's almost like what you're trading off, like going to bed earlier. It's like, that's not even that bad.
Yeah. It's like an investment, like, you invest now and you're
Got a
worth
better
more
ROI.
later. Yeah. And, I
Um,
think one of the big things is I think we've talked about this, having that support system. So, like we were talking earlier, just like what we've learned through the fitness journey. Like my group of friends, I would say, has gotten smaller, but almost like-minded individuals, right? So, like, I have friends who are very understanding of this. If someone like at this point in my life, if someone's not on board with my journey in life, it's going to be a deep look into why and why am I continuing to be friends with this person or expend energy on someone who's constantly we're not congruent on our goals, you know what I mean? Our values or whatever else. Most of the time, even if my friends are not into fitness, they respect what I'm doing. And so I think they admire it. But I feel like only this works because, for example, I'm going to come back that Monday, like I told you, and go to the gym. That only works because I have a wife who's super supportive. I think we talked about this with I think it was Joaquin when he was on, or Caleb. I can't remember when they were talking. It's like it's a we prepped. That's now in my mind forever. Like I took it kind of for granted. But I'm gonna come back. My wife is gonna be so understanding 'cause she knows I missed the gym for 3 days, and I'm gonna go and get it, and she's gonna support that. You know what I mean? So I think surrounding yourself with people who are gonna support your goals and look up to you for it and all that other stuff, and not tear you down, because that's the worst thing you want. Is you come back, you have a plan to train, you have a plan to better yourself that long term is going to help the family, and you have someone who's like, don't go. Like I hear this all the time. I don't know if you hear this with clients or anything else, but it's like,
Definitely.
no, you can't go train today because whatever. And it's like, the plan, why not? And obviously, like emergencies and everything else, but like a lot of times it's not an emergency. It's a selfish, like, or self-centered reason why that other person doesn't want them to go train.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I think it's, yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things where I'll think about like in the context of a natural bodybuilding prep where there is
Mhm.
such a demand of like, we got to train in the week if we want to do well and hold on to our muscle for the stage. We've got to keep track of our nutrition. We got to eat
Mhm.
outside of oftentimes what everyone else is doing, maybe most of the time. Like there's some check boxes that we have to check off if we want to do well for the competition. But I think it's probably also good to try to limit selfishness. We're going to be
Yep.
self-centered in that sense that we're checking off those boxes, but like for me, for example, I would consider it my responsibility for the people closest to me to try to limit
Mhm.
or to completely get to zero any kind of intrusiveness to the people around me. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
sacrifice them for my goals. I'll sacrifice
Yep.
myself for my goals,
Yes.
but not them. So I'll meet them halfway or 80% or 90% of the way. But at the same time, it is so nice to have family or friends or like your spouse to be able to meet you that other 10, 20%. Like,
Yeah.
because even that's my experience, even when like me as a natural bodybuilder put in everything to try to limit any selfishness, like it's still going to be tough for the people around me, even if it's
Yep.
only like another 10 to 20%, like they're going to feel it. at least a
Mhm.
little bit, because I'm being weird. I'm being different than
Yeah.
what they're
Yeah.
being. That's understandable. So that being so, having someone that can meet you, that other 10 to 20%, man,
Yeah.
it's it's amazing. So I think it's like one of
100%.
those things where you have someone like that, be really
Yeah.
grateful for it. I think it's still on us to
Well, yeah.
do the best we
Yeah.
can, but
Yeah. No, I've done that too. Like, I basically, I think, like you're saying, I basically will sacrifice my own sleep, my own time to try to get it in, right? Like, I hate waking up early. I'm not a morning person. I have become a morning person to,
accommodate.
yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, right, dude, right now it's awful. Like, I get up every day at like 4:30, 4:35. Like, I'm at the gym by 5. I'm there till 7, and again, I'm accommodating. I go to that gym, so I go with my friend who I lift with. It'd be easier if I went on base or somewhere else, right? Like, um, and even then, I could work out a little bit later, but this is actually good because it gets me into the office and I'm there first, and like all these like things that stack. You know what I mean? So because I get up that early, and I'm still at work until 5 p.m. at the earliest, stay late, come home, like, but then I okay, dedicate time for the family. Like, what are we doing? And then weekends, it's like, cool, I get my long run in the mornings or whatever. And then it's like, what are we doing? The honey-do list, I got it. What are we going out? We going to like dinner? Like, what are we doing? Like, it's all for them at that moment. Um,
Yeah.
but I think those that are closest to us look up to it though, man. They really do. And they're supporting because they admire it. And it's like seeing that dedication and stuff like that. I literally got a text from my sister last night at like 10 p.m. Of course, I was in bed, and it was a picture of her working out in the gym, right? And she's like, "I'm back at it," and I just gave her a heart, thing. Of course, now she's opened the can. She's
Yeah.
opened the can. I'm gonna
Yeah.
text her
Now you're
every
gonna
day
be
now.
checking in on her.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be accountability partner. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
She's like, she doesn't even know what she signed up for.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, she don't even know. She don't even know.
Yeah.
Um, so I had a thought earlier. I'm gonna try to remember it. So we were talking about all these things that we've learned through fitness and how it makes us a more complete person. But I think as we were discussing these things, I think you can learn all these things in any skill set. So we both have music backgrounds. We can you learn mental fortitude, resilience, discipline when perfecting an instrument or any skill, right? For anyone out there that has hobby or whatever they do. Um, because I think there is a difference. I don't know what it is, so maybe you can answer it. What is, in your opinion, like a difference between mastering a skill like that? Maybe a technical skill. Maybe you're an awesome gamer. You're the best like Call of Duty player. You're the best, musician, chess player. I'm a big chess player. Versus like getting physically fit and accomplishing these different feats. But I think there is a difference. I just don't necessarily know how to. I have some ideas, but I want to see what your thoughts are.
I've got one that's like at the top of my head.
Mhm.
I think you could still make an argument for this being applicable to other skills outside of fitness, but I think that it's something that is or can be really emphasized within fitness, maybe a little bit more than everything else, or maybe just in a different sense.
Mhm.
And that is, and this is, I'm thinking about earlier too at the very start of our conversation, like one of the things that I've learned that I value as being one of the most important things that I've learned from fitness is mastering one's emotions,
Mhm.
uh, developing better control over my emotions rather than my emotions be controlling me and controlling my actions.
Mm. Yeah.
So for example, with hunger, like when you're dieting for bodybuilding, emotionally, you're hungry, it's been a long day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Your emotions are screaming at you like, I'm hungry, I'm hangry, I'm tired,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. Like everything's kind of screaming to go and eat something delicious and high calorie.
Mhm.
So that's my emotional center, but it's like there's a higher part of me that is recognizing the emotion and that kind of emotional discomfort, but it's saying, hey, no, we're not gonna react. I'm not going to react to that emotional response. I'm going to do something else instead, which is, I'm going to wait for my healthy meal that's an hour away. I'll do something else instead.
Yeah.
Same thing with like lifting weights, is like going back to this whole concept of accepting voluntarily discomfort,
Hmm.
pain, suffering, if you
Yeah.
will, all of these negative feelings, right? They're all
Yeah.
they're all they're all sensations that come with an emotional response. Like, ouch, get me out of this. Like, this is
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want to stop. I want to quit. But you, our higher self has the potential to say like, no, let's sit in it. Let's keep
Yeah.
pushing. Let's it's this ability to, and this goes in alignment with mental resilience too, to choose to react differently than how our emotions would lend us to react. I think maybe that's something. Again, you can make that an argument that you can make an argument that you can still learn that skill doing something
Mhm.
like playing the trombone or the trumpet or the piano. Like, maybe you don't want to practice all the time,
Yeah.
but you choose
But
to do it anyways, even though
yeah,
emotionally, like from an emotional standpoint, like the reaction might be, no, let's stop. You choose to
I
do
think
it
there's a
anyway.
difference though. There's a nuance. Like you have the mental toughness, but like when training, there's a physical like response. Like your body is telling you, like your natural instinct. Like when you're playing the piano and it's hour three, like that's you mentally, you're developing mental toughness, but it's not your body telling you like I'm dying, right? Like, whereas if you're squatting and you have all this weight on you, and it's like you feel like it's going to crush you, or you're running and you're at 20 miles and you're cramping and you're like, I could just stop and that would feel good. Like there is a difference. I think there's a physical response that you have to then use your mental toughness to overcome what nature is telling you to do. You know what I mean? I think that's there's a little nuance to that. So maybe that's what's one of the things that, with fitness, which which is applicable. I also think for like societal reasons, I think other because we're social creatures, right? Like you can instantly see it and recognize it, right? Like I can't look at you and tell you're a great trombone player. I can't tell that you're the best computer programmer out there. Um, so I have to get to know you, which in today's age, people have a real hard time doing that. So like, but physically, I can see you're a freaking stud and you're jacked. So automatically, I have a certain respect for you. I know you have these skills. So like, I can make an instant like using my senses to understand that this is someone who, if stuff hits the fan, cool. That guy is like our survival instincts. I think the animalistic is still in us. Like we know that we can go to these people, and these people are the protectors, the strong. Like even though like that other like maybe not fit person is actually who we should go to because they're really smart at whatever. But like, how do we know? Are we going to gamble on that? I don't know if that made sense. Maybe that went too like zombie apocalypse too fast, but
No, it definitely does. I think this goes in alignment with earlier on you brought up uh, being a better leader. I think that
Mhm,
there's that takes a this takes a part, has a role in that, right?
mhm,
People, you see someone that's got a lot of muscle on their frame, that's in great shape. It's kind of like you're walking evidence that you've voluntarily embraced this fitness challenge. So it's kind of like you don't even need words to tell people that you are open to challenging yourself and experiencing discomfort. So maybe that's part of the reason someone looks
yeah,
at you and they're like, "Man, that guy's like, he's worked hard. He's embraced some kind of a challenge." So it's like maybe that's part of what is likely to draw you to someone
mhm,
like that. And I think
mhm,
that goes in alignment with earlier on talking about like being a better leader. I think it's like
yeah,
people look up to you for that reason. You don't even need words for it. It is interesting because you're right. Like
Yeah.
maybe there is someone that is like, mentally and emotionally equipped to be a leader. It's like Steve Rogers became before he became Captain America, but he did
Yeah.
have to get super, super jacked
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
before
Yeah.
he actually was the leader of the
Dude,
Avengers.
that is so funny. I love that you're comparing me to Captain America.
Captain
Uh,
America. That's
but like
awesome.
I literally felt like that. I was stubborn, number one. I've always been stubborn. I'm still stubborn. And I think I was hiding behind the excuses of I knew deep down I wasn't the best version of myself. But like we talked about this, like I was still the goofy guy, the emotional, intelligent, like still cared about people. Like I don't think any of that has changed in my leadership, style and stuff like that. And I don't hate it obviously, but I kind of am frustrated that I've been proven wrong, that by me just being in shape, I get instant credibility. It's awesome. Like I seriously, it is crazy. I'm telling you, man, it is crazy. And we talked about this too, with like vanity and the body dysmorphia, and you don't really see yourself how you are. Like I still have that to this day. I don't have an understanding of how in shape I am compared to others. Like it's so hard for me to understand. But like so many, I mean, every conversation, every day, fitness is brought up to me. Every day. Every day, you're so jacked. Every day, you used to be fat and now you're not. They take pictures on the wall. I have two pictures next to each other a year apart. Like, and they talk about it. It's like, yeah, it's just every day. It's like it's good. I love it, obviously, and I try to inspire others with it. But it's just I hate that I was proven, wrong. Like, and that's especially in an organization. I don't know if it's like this in every organization. If you're in the corporate world, comment. Let me know if like people say if you're a jack dude and you're wearing like a form fitting suit or something. Do you get instant credibility when you walk in the room? Do people like look up? Because I have a very biased view of this in the military in industry. But it'd be interesting to know for people that are just in the normal corporate world. I'm assuming it is. Like my buddy that I've been going to the gym with, he works at an elementary school. There's not a lot of guys, number one, that work in elementary school. And I was asking him, like, you're probably the fittest person in the school. He's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Because like even at my fittest, I'm not the fittest person, right? Because like I'm in this organization. I was like, man, that's cool. That's a flex. You know what I mean? So, and that's a thing for everyone out there, man. If you're like in I don't know, just a normal office job somewhere, you're a manager at like a Target or something. I don't know. Like you could be the alpha so easy within a year of training. And I'm not even talking hard training. I'm talking like 3 to 4 days a week, get your 10,000 steps a day, eat like a little bit healthy. You could be the like alpha there. I mean, and all these things we're talking about, you're gonna understand those and see those things. So it's all good stuff. I don't know. I went off on a tangent again. That's all I do is go off on tangents.
No, this is great. I've come up with a question though. This is a little bit of a digression.
Well, get us back on track. That's what it is.
So my question is for you. When you first decided to have this self-imposed lifestyle intervention and get into amazing shape and completely change all of your behaviors to do that. I remember because we've talked about this before. I know you said like at the time you were also really interested in leadership and also self-betterment, like almost kind of how to become more positively stoic and
Mhm, mhm.
improve in all of these different mental aspects. From keeping that in mind, what made you decide to do the whole fitness thing? Like, why didn't you just stick with like, "Hey, I'm just gonna read more Marcus Aurelius
Yeah,
to
yeah,
become more
yeah.
to learn how to be like a more stoic man, or read
Yeah.
more self-help books, or look up to other
Yep.
leaders to learn how to become a better leader?" What made you decide
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm gonna also do this fitness thing?" And I know you just mentioned like
Mhm.
there is something to being in shape where all of a sudden
Yeah.
you get this different kind of attention.
Mhm.
from having muscle on your
So
frame. But
that's a
yeah,
great
speak on that.
question, and I've never even thought about it, and I think I always joke about this, but holding my microphone up is an example of all these things that I 7 highly effective habits, strength and leadership, speed of okay, so I have a whole
So they're
bunch of
there.
them. I've only read maybe half of them. So, that's a great question. I think, um, I definitely did have that shift with it too, and I do remember one of my bosses because, like, when I was really in it reading these books, I definitely remember for about 3 months, the way I was answering questions and thinking about things, people could tell I was, like, taking an extra moment and, coming up with clear thoughts. I think and I don't know, I haven't really thought about this, so maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna say something stupid, but, I honestly think, and it's gonna be crazy for a lot of people, I think fitness is easier. I think fitness is easier. Like, for me to read all these books and come up with these, like, critical thinking, thought-provoking answers, and I think that's difficult. Um, I think the organization I'm in leads me to the fitness aspect of it. It's encouraged. We're supposed to be in shape and stuff like that. So, um, I also think the way I think about the world and see the world is completely different than what society views it as. So, I think by being different, it's more acceptable being different in a physical aspect, like being different by running a marathon and doing a bodybuilding competition within 6 months of each other. That's different. It's a lot easier doing that than coming off the wall with a crazy belief on how our society should be ran, or what is the right answer, or what are good morals and values. Um, and I don't think I'm not stoic enough to come up with uh, the correct way of arguing my beliefs. I've had this debate. The guys I'm getting together with this weekend, I'm in the minority in every discussion that we have about everything. Um, and they outmaneuver me in in the verbal judo every time. Then I get frustrated and emotional. I'm just like, well, I can bench more. so so I think maybe that's why. I don't know, man. I think that's I haven't really thought about why. And maybe we talked about this too. Maybe this is just I'm naturally gifted at it and I just kind of found what I'm good at. But I do think there's something to it. I do like having that aspect and still trying to open my mind and learn that as well. But I just don't think I was good at it. It didn't click as well. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I mean, like by just talking with me, or do you think that checks, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree in that having a belief that's different than someone else's belief. So, like what you just
Mhm.
mentioned, if you believe like the political system should be different, or if you believe what's taught to children of the school system should be different, if you believe that the morals and ethics that's encouraged by society ought to be different than what everyone else believes. I think that like those big fundamental intellectual academic arguments are tough to be able to articulate verbally, like for
Mhm.
sure, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel the same way myself. It's just tough in general, I think, to be able to. So let's say I have a belief,
Mhm.
someone else has a different belief about morality, let's just say, and I want them to have the same belief as me, but they have a different belief. It's very difficult to convince them to adopt what my
Yeah.
belief system is
Mhm.
over theirs. Like, I think it's just incredibly different. Whether it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, if
Yeah.
I were to go out and do that, I think that there's layers to that. It's very tough, and
Mhm.
being able to speak and to verbalize, to articulate in ways to do that
Yeah.
is it's a huge challenge. But so I get that, and
Yeah.
the whole fitness thing, it's a way of, you're not. I guess you are. You're sorry, I'm kinda just brainstorming
No, I
out
love
loud
this.
here,
I love it.
kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
going through my own thought process here, but in a sense, with pursuing this whole fitness thing, I think this is kind of what you're getting at, or at least in some sense, it's like
Mhm.
you're putting into practice this different belief system that you have that's outside of what everyone else has, maybe, at
Mhm.
least to some sense. So maybe here's a couple examples, and you can let me know if I'm off
Yeah.
on this, or if I'm kind of in the same area. But so let's say my belief is, geez. Like I revolve I think delayed gratification is a good thing overall. Like I think that's part of
Mhm.
my belief system. I think that it's good to work hard and experience difficulty for the purpose of accomplishing something greater overall. A lot of people, like, they might say that that's
Yeah, but
their
they don't
belief, but deep down,
truly. Yeah.
yeah, but deep down inside they don't act that. They don't act it. They don't
Yeah.
show it in in what they do. But if I were to work on this whole fitness thing and do and put all of the belief in delayed gratification and and sacrificing my time and comfort levels and energy to work out and to eat healthy, then I'm actually putting those beliefs into actual fruition from implementing them through action steps.
Yeah.
So it's a way of kind of directly implementing it can be a way of
Yeah.
directly implementing what your belief systems are, which might be outside of what everyone else's belief systems are, and that sets you apart
Yeah.
from everyone else. Is that
Yeah, no,
kind
I
of
definitely think that makes sense. It's almost like, um, it's a like, I feel like in general, this is gonna sound weird or bad, like, not that I want to be validated. It's not maybe the right word, but, like, I have the like I said, I feel like I'm not normal a lot of times, but I want my body of work to show that I have a not the path, but a path to success, right? Like, so like when someone looks at, my body of work in both my physical achievements, my career accomplishments, my family, my relationship, like I want that to be what people look up to. Um, and I think I strive to be that example because I think ultimately at the end of the day, I love leadership. I like being a leader. I think if you had to ask me like what my skill set is, that's what I would try to strive for. But I've had a hard time discussing leadership, right? Like you watch these podcasts with these like leaders, and I'm like, what? How do they become like such a good leader through these podcasts? Like, so I've tried to just lead through example and through my lifestyle. Um, and so I think that's a way of me actioning my different belief style and hoping that people see that. Now, I think the issue is a lot of my close friends and family, I think, respect um, the body of work I've put together, but we just have core fundamental different beliefs on how we see the world. But I think that's fine. I think it's good to have different belief systems. I think it's as long as the mutual respect is there among each other. So I've found that like it's basically where like I'm going around. Like if I'm here and they're here and we need to meet in the middle, like going straight talking to them about it, and I say I read some book that gave me that reason, they're gonna be like, no. But if I say, okay, but like, oh look, I got in shape, I did all this fitness stuff, and then we kind of meet in the middle through my actions, I think is one of the things. Um,
there's something that I'm curious about that you've said a couple times. Um, and it's kind of this concept of like wanting to set yourself apart from everyone else, like recognizing like I'm
mhm,
different, I've got different beliefs, or I'm just different.
mhm.
And I wanna run this by you and see if,
Yeah, yeah.
because I think I get this in my own way, like, or I do this in my own way, or I feel this in my own way, which might be slightly different than how you've articulated it, but I think it might be
Mhm.
a very similar concept. So for me, and, this is making me think back to, like, when I'm, like, 10, 11 years old, when I first decided I was gonna start lifting weights.
Yeah.
Before I started lifting weights, I was really, really insecure. Like, I was insecure about I remember it seems kinda weird, like, it's like you're 10 or 11 years old and you're already insecure about your body, and I have memories of, like, going to, like, we had planned field trips in 5th
Mhm.
grade, to go to the water slides, and I didn't go to the water slides. Like
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't go to the water slides because I didn't want to take my shirt off in front of my classmates. I'm like 10 years old, 10 years old. So it's very young, felt really insecure. But I have this like growing up, like this really big imagination. And like my favorite things in the world were like X-Men and like
Yeah.
superheroes and like, getting into the Tolkien, the Lord of the Rings, like all these movies that have these amazing protagonists. Sometimes they're super jacked. Sometimes they were just, like a Hobbit, Frodo
Yeah.
or Sam,
Yep.
um, or Gandalf, like old man.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember I was really insecure, but I also like felt like I wanted something to set me apart from everyone else. Like I didn't want to just feel insecure. I wanted something that made me feel like I
Mm-hmm.
kind of stood out from the crowd a little bit, like to make me kind of feel like I had something to feel special about. And like
Yeah.
building muscle was kind of that thing. It's like, well, I can't be a superhero. I'm not going to be Gandalf. I don't have powers, but I can build big muscles. And like that's a way for me to kind of set myself apart a little bit without
Yeah.
sounding like an egomaniac. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of little kids have this thing in them where they have big imaginations and they wish they could go like fight dragons and stuff. Like Jordan Peterson talking about going on an adventure and like fighting your own dragons. Like
Yeah.
I was like as a little kid, and the whole muscle building thing was a way to set myself on an adventure and like set
Mhm.
myself apart from everyone else. If I've got bigger muscles, like that's a way to feel unique and to
Yeah.
feel special. Again, try not to be like an egomaniac or anything, but
Yeah.
feel special. And I can kind of relate to I might be off a little bit, but just some of what you shared kind of brings me back to that, and I still have that in me. Like I'm not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
I still
Mm-hmm.
like the whole fitness thing because it does set me apart from everyone else to some extent. But some of what you were saying kind of is making me think of that because you mentioned even earlier, you're like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a higher achiever. I'm doing this. I want to be elite. I know I'm going to be different than everyone else. Like that is a part of me."
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, and you're talking about like my belief systems. Maybe they're a little bit different. I'm showing that by acting out this fitness thing in this way, I'm setting myself apart, and that's what it's kind of making me think of. It's like I
Yeah.
actually I've got that too. That's actually one of the reasons why I started lifting weights. Is like I wanted
Yeah.
to kind of set myself apart, feel special, and that building muscle and the fitness thing was a big part of that.
Yeah.
But it made me think of that. You
Well,
made me think of that. So,
no, I love that too. Cause like, yeah, I'm definitely I'm competitive and I always want to be better than everyone that I do anything. Like any hobby I get into, I have to be very careful about a hobby because I will immediately be better than the average person. Like I will make sure of it. I am better than the average golfer. I am better than the average racquetball player. Like, now I'm not good at any of them, but I will be better than them. So I definitely think that is it. I'm also a contrarian. So I think that leads to it. I immediately someone says do this, I'm gonna be like, why? Everyone's doing it. I'm like, well, then I don't want to do it. Even if it makes logical sense, I don't want to do it because everyone else is doing it. Like I just want to break the rules, all the time. And it's weird because I grew up in very structure. My dad was in the military, so I learned that. Maybe that's why. Like in music, like very structure, playing in a band, you got to play when the conductor moves the baton. Like, but I play trumpet, so I can kind of, be the most important, loudest instrument and do whatever we want. So I don't know. It is interesting for like the psyche to just kind of figure out um, why we do the things we do and in the direction we take our lives with it. But I do think I have been really focusing on this a lot lately, and going back to like the leadership aspect and having more empathy and grace for others. Um, I don't know, man. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like I I think it's unrealistic for me to have people try to be at my level. And if they are, that immediately means I need to work harder. And but I think that's with an understanding that I will never be the best. Right? And maybe I don't wanna say never, but, like, I'm a realist. We were talking about that before we went live, like, being a realist. Like, I'm new into the bodybuilding thing. I'm new into the marathon thing. So, like, I know I'm never gonna win a marathon. Like, I think we talked about this in the past. Last year, the guy that came in first, beat me by an hour. But I beat 15,000 people. So, like, I'll take those numbers all day long. I still lost to Caleb, but I beat all those other people. So I'll take like percentage, like I will be overall average and better than the average. It's kind of what I push myself to. And so I can't expect everyone else to be like that. And the minute they are, that means I'm no longer elite. It means I'm average, And so I guess I just got to pick up more hobbies so that way I'm better at more random stuff.
Yeah. And for everyone who's listening, this means we need to be careful knowing that if we invite Zach to join in on our hobbies, to be careful because he's going to go out of our way to crush us at whatever said
Yes.
hobby is. But that's
My friends know that so much. The minute, dude, I'm telling you, my wife was so happy that I got second overall, but also she knew immediately that like I was signing up for another one and doing another one because I wasn't gonna let
yeah.
it go. Um, yeah, no, it's awesome. It's
Well, it's
awesome.
interesting. I mean, it's part of your personality. It's like
Mhm,
it's tough. I think it's like one of this what you just mentioned. It's like it's the kind of thing that we ask ourselves, like, why do we have this drive to
mhm.
keep being good at the things that we do,
Yeah.
right?
Do you think
But I think
every
it's
Yeah. Do you think everyone has that? And it just they're in their
no,
shell? Like, because there are I don't wanna say sheep, that's not the right word, but, like, they're just part of they just wanna go along to get along. They don't wanna stand out. They don't wanna wear a bright orange hat, you know what I mean, to stick out in the crowd, whereas I do wanna do that, mainly because Sam made fun of my hairdo and I had to stick out. But, there are, like, certain people that don't wanna rock the boat, and I'm wondering why. And does that same personality type translate to someone who doesn't want to be physically jacked or the fastest because they have been conditioned through their upbringing or whatever to not stick out? I don't know. I've never really thought about that until just now.
yeah, geez, it's an interesting question, that's for sure. I
Mhm,
think honestly, definitely don't have a concrete answer, that's for sure. But I mean, like brainstorming out loud, I think it's one of these things where everyone has a different personality, different
mhm,
desires, different abilities to tolerate certain things. Like, yeah,
mhm,
I mean, we all have our own natural proclivities, like our own talents. We're all talented in different areas. Like, so you and I, we've found that we're a little bit talented at the fitness thing. And we have this personality where we run towards the discomfort of hard training versus other personality types. They don't have the desire to like build as much muscle as they can. They don't have the psychological yearning for it. I think that's part of
mhm.
personality. Um, or the they're very reluctant to experience physical discomfort, right? So, like,
Mhm.
training hard often is probably not for them. Maybe doing it like 2 or 3 times a week to stay in good health is like, that's a great thing to aim for, but not a
Yeah,
bodybuilding competition or a marathon. I think that's a personality, a psychological thing. It's just and part of everyone is different. It's how
yeah.
we're made up, and I mean, you could take someone that's like a mathematician, a physicist. If
Mhm.
I were to imagine myself in their shoes doing complex equations and dealing with numbers all day, yeah. Like I understand the concept of that being really fun and interesting, maybe not always fun, but very interesting and like it being a challenge to do all these all this very difficult problem solving.
Mhm.
But man, if I was in their shoes, oh man, get me out of there right now. Like I don't
Yes.
have the natural proclivity. It's not part of my personality. Just like maybe that
Yeah,
mathematician or physicist looks at like us prepping for bodybuilding competitions and they're like, no, never in 1,000 years.
yeah, yeah. Which is important. I think all of us have our strengths. I agree. But, yeah. No, I love it. I think it was good, man. I think, for anyone listening, like, um, there's a lot of different skills that you can learn through physical fitness and training. You can learn them in other crafts as well. But I think if you haven't gotten into fitness or you're just interested into it and you stumbled across this podcast, like maybe give it a try, and I think you'll feel those positive results. And if you are super into fitness already, and that's why you're checking this out, let us know if you feel these same things, if you've discovered this. Yeah, give us some comments and stuff about what you think um, on the topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a great summary. And yeah, drop a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are. It also
Yeah.
helps us a lot too if you like the video. Smash the like button, smash it, if you
Yes.
will. But yeah, this is a good one. We went deep.
I like it all over. Yeah, let us know if you guys like a little bit different topics, and check out the last video about diet and plateaus. It was a really good one. So,
Cool. Well, it's been good. Thanks, Zach.
yep. Thanks.